Gummit, somebody hit live and I was not ready to go live and I am all by myself. Thank goodness nobody watches the first 1 minute anyway. So I'm just gonna sit here and play on my phone until I see somebody say hi. How's that? Let's do it. Look, Russ Hedge is sending laughy faces. Hey, did somebody put in the hounds that were live? Look, CJ, she's like, I'll do it. Oh, thank you. See, look at this. So many good people, good, helpful people. All right. So I'm solo today. They don't let me out. All right. Who's here? Nobody here yet? Are you kidding me? What is it? Summertime? All right. Well, here, I'll go ahead and say something. So, can you believe it's May 1st already? Ain't that crazy? That's a crazy. It's absolutely nuts, but it's good. It's good. I'm glad spring is here. So, I'll tell you what, we have a huge. Oh, look, Leanna is here. Dr. New is here. LinkedIn user is here. Lots of LinkedIn users. All right. Dr. New. All right. So I guess now people are here. I can quit just rambling nonsense, even though I enjoy that very much. And welcome everybody. Hope you had a good week and have fun. Right? Life's too short not to. I forgot to have fun this week. So we're gonna have a ball. I'm gonna get this show rolling because we have a packed show, man. We might have a 3 hour show. Don't worry. Just kidding. All right. So as I'm dying out here by myself, I will roll the intro or somebody roll the intro. Let's get the party started. Let's get rocking, y'all. Can't wait.
Are you looking to grow your business and your mindset alongside a fun and awesome pack? Grab a chair and your favorite beverage and join Mike Ashebrainer, the business mechanic, and his win-win network for the Hounds of Business Happy Hour.
Hey, welcome to the pack, the live stream, guys. Have fun, network with each other in the comments. We've got a jam-packed show, two awesome people, and then two more awesome people. So the Hounds is full of it. We love it, full of good things. And man, we're so glad you joined us today. Let's get to it. Let's go ahead and start talking because you know how we roll. You know how I roll. When I see great things, I got to talk about it because I just got to talk in general, right? So I might as well, if I'm going to talk all day, it might as well be about pushing people up who do the same thing. And so let's start it off with Mr. Kofi. Kofi with Flying Wings Publishing. Oh man, this guy, he's a good guy. He talks the talk, walks the walk, of course, but from the ground up. You know, remote village in Africa. Now, you know, in the Air Force, the guy has just his story is amazing. All right. And his whole thing is to use his experience and push people up. So now he's wrote his second book that you can find. Scan the QR code. Keep that phone ready because there's a bunch of these up here. Uh, and his first book, Unbroken Optimist, I am about halfway through it. Fantastic read. And then he has published a book for Craig Williamson regarding things that matter over there on the right. Fantastic book, right? So anybody who's we all go through crap, right? We go through a lot of crap, and it's hard to be joyful and joyous, and sometimes we get stuck. Craig has been through a lot of things in life, and this has really been uplifting for me. Real practical, down to earth advice. Go check out Flying Wings on LinkedIn. You can go online and see the website, but connect with Kofi Duhaji. Hope I said that right. And Craig Williamson, Craig A. Williamson, two outstanding guys. Love you all to death. Thank you for all you do for everybody and putting that message out there, right? That they're opening up to share stuff that can help us become better faster, right? Why do we want to repeat the mistakes and stay stuck when someone can help us through it? Right? That's the pack way. So thank you, Kofi. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Sandra Gonzalez. All right, go check her out on her profile. Two Z's Gonzalez. She is fantastic. Remarkable individual. 20-year Marine Corps service officer. Walks the walk, talks the talk. She has a veterans only retreat coming up in November 15th through the 18th. All people, all veterans, definitely go here. You will benefit like no other. She has the biggest heart, patience with people, and she's so skillful at helping other people just gain that sexy confidence. Man, I love her story. Talks about her family, her dad, her experience. I love real people, right? We all do. So thank you so much, Sandra. Love having you in the pack, and we'll do everything we can to make sure folks benefit and see this because it will change lives, no doubt. So thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, now we know this pack leader, Christine Bell, consumer and consumer strategist, market researcher. She is phenomenal. I pull her into every collaboration I need. When somebody's new to entrepreneurship or small business, your employer took care of a lot of stuff and now you realize it because now you have to do it, right? Payroll, taxes, marketing. How do I position? And far too often, if you're like me, you just go out there and buy stuff or do stuff, get a website, get this, get that. That's a problem. You need a strategy, right? So go talk to her. I wish I known her years ago because it would have made life so much simpler and easier. So thank you, Christine, for all you do for me, the pack, and everyone else. Uh, Absolutely remarkable. So scan that QR code and go to Christine Bell's profile on LinkedIn. Always, she has 2 webinars that come out every other week. So these are always different, always good, and I'm still trying to talk her down from giving us so much free stuff. So better hurry up before I make that happen. All right. So go in there, move your business to the next level. Christine is the person. She's worked with some of the biggest brands that you've seen every single day. All right, so I have a new shirt because y'all know I'm like Charlie Brown, right? I've got more shirts, but they're all the same color, like 5 black and 3, white. So I have to give a shout out to my buddy Ansel Lee 3 and 4. All right, father son duo. Look, got a book. All right, now so I'm starting to read. Uh, so thank you for all the encouragement, all the books. Y'all know I need to read more. So thank you for the note. This guy. So anybody in health tech or med tech space, startups or companies that are moving to the next level, go check out Ansel. All right, scan the QR code, Ansel Lee, LEA, on LinkedIn. All right, this guy is phenomenal. He gives back like no other, and gosh, super happy and honored that he came to us, and we're looking to work together and get more visibility. People need help. He helps a lot of folks in the healthcare that are looking for new opportunities. Just need a push, right? So thank you, Ansel. Thank you for the book. It's about relational selling, right? This is what we're about, forming relationships, pushing each other up. No corny sales pitches, no pitch slap with a P. All right. Real deal here, guys. Love this book. Thank you, Ansel. And thank you for the shirt. Almost got in trouble. Somebody referred me to Ansel and they found out I got a shirt they didn't. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to mail them my shirt now. So hopefully we'll just get a bunch of shirts out there. All right. So thank you so much, Ansel. Oh, and this is huge. So thank you, Tanya. Tanya Eberhardt had the amazing Bob Burg of the Go Giver series, right? Amazing book. Love it. Love the principles behind it. And so again, reciprocity, pack principles. I spent my time on a Sunday to give back to Tanya, to push her up, to make sure people saw that. And Bob saw it. And the man practices what he writes, right? He wrote back and we had a conversation Sunday and Tuesday rolls around and here we are. This is not an infomercial. Okay, if you want to accelerate, drive more, business relationships that will lead to more increased sales through those relationships, and really generate not just endless referrals. I call it fierce advocates. People who can't stop talking about you because you have built so much like and trust with them, and try and buy, and they know you're the real deal. So go to that. It's May 8th. All right, 2:30 Eastern time. So New York City time if you're international, because we got a lot of folks. We got Laos in the hounds now, so I'm getting really jacked up with the time zones. So New York City time, 2:30. This will be unbelievable. Jeff West, uh, Kim, and Bob. We cannot wait to have you guys. Appreciate you. You're great friends of the pack. This will be phenomenal. And Brand Face and Level Up Academy, right? Dr. CJ, we'll see her in a second. Thank you so much for making this possible, guys. Unbelievable. This will change a lot of businesses and a lot of lives, no doubt. All right, you're going to see this lady again, right? Hounds leader, operations, and keeps me in line. So don't forget to go see, check out the profile, scan the QR code. Everybody knows Isabel Fortin. Uh, Absolutely. I took the assessment. All right. And I told y'all the story. I won't beat the dead. It's still a good story. I figured she was just I said, "I'll just do it because I like her." It's actually very useful. It gauges a lot of things, and if you lead a community, a business organization, Boy Scouts, whatever, man, if you lead and deal with people, you need to know how those people respond. It reminds me of the love languages, right, for teams, right? That's what it reminds me of. If I'm trying to give somebody a hug and they rather have a gift, and now I'm wondering what's happening, right? So understand your people, how they communicate, their gifts, their skills, and how you as a leader can tap into it. So go check her out. She said way better at explaining this than I am. And she's going to be on talking about this a little bit anyway. But I wanted to go in there and throw in my goofy 2 cents. So there you go. Love, appreciate you, Isabel. All you do for everyone. Thank you so much. And Sindal Dunn, we got to thank her. She's running the backstage. Still a little bit shy. We're going to break her out of that. But definitely connect with her. Type that in on the chat so people can get to know you. All right. You do a lot for us and we greatly appreciate you. And I hesitate to say this, but if anybody needs an assistant, a VA, or somebody that just can do everything in the office, don't steal it from me too fast. But hey, Sindal Dunn, all right, is that she is the best. Thank you, Hounds of Business. Absolutely. Go out there and get to talk to her. She has made my life so much easier. All right. And then last but not least, Hounds of Business Mother's Day special. This is going to be amazing. All right. I'm not going to spoil it. We're going to have some fun. Guys will be involved. So you know it's going to be at least funny, right? A bunch of us guys up here on Mother's Day. So make sure you tune into that and celebrate the Hounds people and mothers that are doing great, extraordinary things in and outside of business. Last but not least, all right, go ahead and bring them up. Let's bring up Susanna and Dr. CJ. Ladies, I cannot thank you enough for the experience I had last time writing in the anthology, right? Beyond boundaries, moving in life's gray zone. It was an unbelievable experience. I was terrified, right? Because they said, "Hey, you want to write in a book?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't even read books." Like I know it sounds bad, but I have Isabel read them to me. It's weird. But thank you, ladies. You all have a new anthology. I wanted to make sure the folks understood how they can get involved, what's it about, if it's for them. So I will stop rambling and one of y'all explain this. What's the opportunity here and why are you doing this?
Take it over, sister. Go.
Go on, Susanna.
Well, hold on. Okay. So, in many ways, this is like a prequel to the anthology that we just did for Beyond Boundaries. This one, Moving Beyond Boxes. Everybody who knows me, I always talk about how much I didn't like people telling me who I was, what I'm supposed to do, sticking me in boxes. And so here is our chance to, for everybody who's been stuck in these boxes, it's really the moment of self-discovery, the moment that you understand that you can move beyond that box and take over your life instead of letting others control it. That's what we're talking about. It's that journey of finding yourself and then just stepping out into the world as the authentic person you were always meant to be.
Yeah, you are the box shredder. That's what I call you. That's not the formal title. That's just what my redneck self says. But I feel for you. I've been that. A lot of us have, right? Some of us are in professional jobs like attorneys, and we have to be, fit the mold and all of that stuff, and we just can't be ourselves. We can't belong, right? We feel like we have identity crisis. I mean, let's be honest sometimes. So you have made this available to help people write about that experience, help other people through your experience, how you broke the mold, right? So, CJ, you are the one that started publishing the books and helping this whole thing go. Amazing experience both of you all gave. I love the experience of being able to talk about how I started the Hounds because I didn't have any friends and unexpected leadership and things that I've had encountered. And I was kind of surprised that people read it, resonated with it, and it helped people. So, explain to me on your perspective, why are you doing this and who is it best for?
I'm doing this because it's a level up for Publicity Hub, quite honestly.
Nice.
When I think of legacy building, I think of the future, right? And you got to think about the vision that I have, which is the Netflix of education. And also, my mission is to level up the world through education. But how do you educate people about life? You can't go to the university and learn life. They don't even teach you how to balance your checkbook, let alone life. So, what better ways actually to level up the world through education, through every single person who wants to leave a legacy through your own lens. But what's beautiful about it is just what my sister Susanna said with the box, right? You're in the box. We all are in a box. Whether you want it or not, you're in a box. Male, female, Asian, white, Caucasian. I mean, you name it. You're in a box. Okay?
Right.
Some boxes is necessary for work, but some boxes keeps you in mentally. So how do we move beyond that through our experiences? Susanna and I are neurodivergent, right? We have ADHD, different ways. Not all ADHD are created equal, but there's a base function where we're like, oh, wow, shiny things. Oh, wow, this is cool. And we need to focus. When you're in business, you can't do that. You have to focus from A to B so you could finish something. And it's really difficult. But once you focus on it, right, you're good to go. You're just there. So that's why I do magazines. I do couture magazines. I have my press release room. I have my TV show, my radio show, right? My live stream, my YouTube. And this one is really about publishing because I want to leave legacies for people 100 years, 200 years, 300 years from now. You know, when you talk about our old president, the very first president of the United States, right? How do you know about him? Was there a TV then? No, it's books. You read about them
Right.
through books. And that's how I started thinking about leaving legacies through publishing.
Well, I mean, up until what 1500s, the printing press. We told stories. People would run around town to town and tell these elaborate stories, and
Gossip.
that's another. Yeah, 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 gossip. Yeah, I love. Don't get me started on ancient Rome, like the graffiti and all that. Yeah, it's great. Not so much. Human nature hasn't changed that much in a couple thousand years, but this to me was so much fun to be able to share with other people. Get out there. It does bring visibility to you as the author, right? It does bring an influx of people that can relate to you and see you, and it's not selfish. You have a story to tell, and other people can benefit from that. So thank you so much. I mean, we got to see with Jackie and so many other hounds and just good people,
Mike,
friends of the hounds.
don't forget, June 15th, we can see in person. This is probably, maybe in our group at least, the only anthology that you'll see that you can go at Barnes and Nobles to buy it and have a book signing. The
Nice.
only anthology that you'll see. Okay. So that's what I do, right? We put anthologies in places, a hybrid, not just on Amazon, but everywhere else in the world. And then of course we do have Level Up magazine as well, physical copy. So that's what we do is we level you up to amplify your message as a business owner. And this is just one part of Level Up Academy. So shout out to my people out there. Look at Kinga is busy in there. I see Dr.
Mhm.
Nu is busy on there. Melissa is there. Who is it? Christine is here. Love you guys.
Thank you. So, excuse me. Thank you so much. Been a day. Allergies are killing me. So if folks want to get in, is it too late, or do they have time? If folks want to get in or learn more about writing in this anthology, what do they go? What's the timetable?
It's everything is on my website. It's www.susannadawnwriter.com. The QR code is on that graphic. And we say that today is the last day. But, you know, it depends. And then the hounds, they also get a discount. So there's a discount to join if you're a
Nice.
hounds member. And there's a different discount if you're a returning author. So returning author
Did we get?
is a better deal.
Oh, see, I don't know.
You can't combine.
Man, okay, all right, because I did one, and I'm still like, whoo, like I just crossed the finish line. That was hard for me, but I'm a special case. Most people had a ball; they did fine. I'm just a different guy. So, uh, what? How many? Oh, did we do a contest? Did we find the winner yet?
Yes, you did. We gave you who the person is. Do you know who that person is?
No, I can't even talk right now, ladies.
Susanna.
Announce it
Susanna
for me.
has it.
I have
Sister-
it.
Go ahead, drum roll.
Yeah.
So
Where's the drum?
last time,
Yes.
it's Sharon Byrne.
Oh wow, brand new hound. Nice. See, that's why people show up. You know, all kind of good stuff. That's going to be a life-changing experience. So proud of her and so happy for her. Thank you, ladies. Anything else you want to add before you go? Folks want to know, or
just DM us. And if you're curious just to see what's that's all about, Susanna and I are available at any time. Well, mostly Susanna will be available tonight because I teach courses at night. But other than that, we would love to have you and just experience being the first time author, or maybe being the first time in an anthology with Susanna and I. So that will be fun to just kind of network with us as well.
Exactly.
Listen, hey, I encourage everyone to go get the information, find out. Don't say, oh, no, you got a million reasons you shouldn't. Give yourself one. Go find out, get the information, and then say yes or no, right? That's how I miss so many opportunities not doing that, guys. Don't be like me. All right, go find out. And maybe this one ain't for you, but you'll know someone who would be blessed by this. So thank you, ladies, so much. This was a great experience. And thank you for all you do. Publicity Hub Queen, Level Up Academy, exploding the visibility in the hounds. Susanna always writing and keeping us in line and promoting us. Thank you so much, ladies. You are special. Couldn't imagine you not being here. All right. All right. Get out of here. Go have fun, kids.
See ya.
Be good. All right.
Bye.
Get out of here. All right. So let's bring it up. HR. This is what we're here for. Man, talk about a subject I don't know about. So I got lots of paper, lots of pencils, and go ahead and bring them up. There we go. We see a
Hi,
familiar
Mike.
face, right? All right. We got Isabel Fortin, and we've got Stephen. Go ahead and say it for me. I know I'm gonna mess it up.
Laverne, like in Laverne and Shirley. Easy.
See, man, I should have
Actually,
more
it's French, right?
It is French.
Yes, it's Lavergne.
Nope.
So here's another word Mike won't be able to say.
Nope. So I spent a year plus trying to do Spanish and look goofy. Now French is harder and worse, and I look goofier doing that. So we won't go there, okay? Because I want France to come to the hounds, not run from it. So I will be.
Good
I will
idea.
behave.
Good
All
idea.
right, we got Kevin out there. I don't want to make him get in trouble. So, thank you all so much. Isabel, go ahead and give the folks your background, what you do.
I'm a team leadership strategist, and actually it all started when I came out of the military, because when I had a really big culture shock as far as work was concerned, when I just realized that like teamwork didn't exist and it was for every man for themselves in the corporate world. And I was shocked by that, and I was mystified. So why, like, how do you create a team? How do you implement the military strategy in the civilian life? Because obviously, you can't bark orders and make people do push-ups. So I studied that, and I had many businesses, and I implemented what I had learned from the military, and it brought me to what I do today. And I'm teaming up with the fabulous Stephen right here.
Yeah, they're great segue. So you got to be my guest and co-host. You see how I'm just flopping around like a fish out of water?
One at a time, honey.
Man, it's my poor self-esteem and bad confidence. It's what
Okay.
nobody but Stephen, man, you are a great guy. You joined the hounds maybe about somewhere around 6 months ago, or maybe a half a year. Man, a few words. This is probably more you're going to talk than you talk the whole year, man. So, but I love having you here, right? It's not the volume of the words, it's what you say, like what meaning's behind it. And you only speak when you got something to say. So I'm taking notes from you right off the bat. But tell the folks, what do you do? You have a long career, very accomplished. Tell the folks what you do now, buddy.
Yeah, 26 plus years now in the HR and talent space. Seems like just yesterday I got in it, but like Isabel, I have a very long background in other things. I started off right out of high school, actually working in the medical field, and got my licensed vocational nurse certificate and worked in hospitals for about 7 years. And then moved from San Diego, California to Texas. And in Texas, I was unsure of what I wanted to do. I moonlighted. So before I go on to that, I moonlighted when I was in San Diego as a police reserve officer. So I did that for about 3 years. So I was really confused as to what I wanted to do when I moved to Dallas. Was I going to stay in nursing, maybe pursue law enforcement? And I answered an ad to be a nurse recruiter. And I knew a hospital front to back to front. And so they gave me a job as a nurse recruiter, and my career has taken off since then. So I did medical recruiting until 2005, and then got into IT recruiting, and then had different jobs in contracting. I've worked as a global director of talent, and then I got into the startup world, which has been great. So the last probably 7-8 years, I've been in the startup world. We get hit with the recession, and the tech industry takes a big hit a couple years ago. So I got laid off and ended up starting my business with my partners. And so we now have a HR and talent consulting business where we consult with startups, small businesses as well too, with just trying to help them grow their business the right way on the talent and HR side, really getting them locked into the right tools and things like that. So yeah, I love it. I have a huge passion for this career, and if anybody's also listening, watching, we're open to help out whoever we can.
Man, that was the most I heard you talk since we met. Love it. Hey. Yeah, always sensical, man. I love it. All right. Let me ask you this. What would be the biggest changes that you've seen in HR in the last 20 years?
Well,
2 decades.
HR and talent, I'll kind of put them together, but I think, for, what I've seen is, and it's funny because my partners and I were just talking about this. A lot of stuff hasn't changed, which I think has been the scarier part but you hear a lot of people in the industry talk about this needs to change and that, and that needs to change. Obviously, the biggest thing that we can see right now is tech. Tech's coming in very, very strong. AI, those things are really hitting the HR and talent space. Some of it good, some of it not so good. I think where the change, or I have issue with the change, is as things become more techy and more advanced, you lose the people part of the business. And in HR and talent, right? We're people touch. I mean, it's one of the things I love about this business, like why I'm in the house. When you build relationships, things happen, and you get to meet different people, different cultures. We're all different, but a lot of the same, right? And so I think, seeing those trends start to sneak in, the more tech trends start to sneak in, it gives me a little pause. But no, I think we're trying to embrace it as well too. I mean, our team is in the process of building an AI enhanced applicant tracking system. So we're trying to embrace it as well too, and really kind of move with, the times and see how things go. Because one of the things what we don't want to slip through the cracks is candidate experience, people experience, manager experience. Those kind of things are really, really important. So the more we can still, help that evolve along with tech, I think we're sitting in a really good spot. So.
Absolutely. I just started thinking about the Jetsons. Like there's gonna be an HR robot walk up and say you were late. Like you got 3 demerits or something. Like, oh, I would have sprayed that with the hose, buddy. I'm telling you, because I worked in companies where HR was more like the secret police or something. It wasn't like, oh look, it's HR. They're like, oh shit, somebody's in trouble. Somebody's getting fired if HR is rolling down here.
Well, hey, Mike, I've worked in companies where when I was in an office, I'd walk into the break room, and everybody's quiet, and everyone's like, "Well, HR is here now." I'm like, "It's not like that. Like, we've got that stigma, And again, that's a stigma I'd love to see broken over time. Like, HR people can be some of the wildest, craziest people. If you're ever in some of those kind of conversations, I'm sure that Isabel knows this. It's like those are the ones you got to watch. It's usually not the people in the company; it's the HR folks, right? So yeah, it's not like it shouldn't be all tight around the collar.
It's funny. No, I got to hone in on this. See, I was nervous about this conversation, but Stephen, you got me. So it was like Bob Saget and Danny Tanner. So you're absolutely right, because I just remember
Right.
this. It was a major corporation, and this guy, he was that guy, right? So he goes to Stooges, right, the bar out after work, and it was night shift, man. It was something like 4 or 5 in the morning. Total animal. Yeah, I was thinking about giving him a wedgie, and then I saw him outside of work. I said, "Damn, that guy's oops." Yeah, it's like watching Bob Saget on a stand-up comedy. He's very different on Full House, right?
Right.
So, yeah, and they're people too. They have a job to do. But I've also seen smaller and mid-cap companies that had great HR departments. They were a support system, and people actually enjoyed it. So it is what you make of it, right? So, Isabel, same question to you, but more on the culture and team side, right? How is technology over the last 20 years? What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in general? And is technology really making a difference in how teams, collaborate, work together, and manage?
Well, as far as technology is concerned, I think that the pandemic changed everything because all of a sudden were we can go to work anymore. So like the tools like what we're doing now and Zoom meetings and Teams and all that good stuff just made it possible for people to actually even maybe have go to the office like 2 days a week or 3 days a week and work from home the rest of the time. So some people were extremely not not really happy with that, but a lot of folks actually were very happy. Hey, listen, I get to sit here and wear my pajama bottoms and still work and do my stuff. And so as far as AI is concerned, I think that that's one of the biggest thing that's happened. As far as company cultures, I think we are going through a major shift right now. And I've spoken about this with Steve, and I've spoken about this with the great Melissa Robinson Weinmiller, where the boss, the leaders can't, this is 1973 anymore. They can't just bang on the conference room table and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And you're going to shut the hell up and you're going to do what we say. It just doesn't fly
Right.
anymore. And thank God that's an extremely positive change. As far as teams are concerned, I think that it's a little bit every man for themselves. And I'm trying to change that.
Yeah. It still is. I mean, especially when you got
Yeah.
professional sales and these kind of things, they're kind of like entrepreneurs. Absolutely great insights. So, and this is fun. You're not running the show with me. So now you
Nope.
have to wait for me to ask you questions. I can kick you off now. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can.
I'm liking the power trip. All right.
Well, enjoy
So
it,
let
buddy,
me
because
go.
it won't last.
No, no, it won't last. You'll be back and I'll be in trouble, in
Yes.
bigger trouble. All right. So, Stephen, people are afraid AI is going to take their jobs, and sometimes they are. But especially in companies and even HR, we talked about it, right? The HR Rosie from the Jetsons. Right? So, how do you foresee AI changing the workforce in about 5 to 10 years? What do you think in your projection?
Oh, it's definitely taking people's jobs. I mean, we've again. I think a lot of these conversations, my partners and I have because we are in that space, and we are also wanting to, to create a tool or build a tool that is going to be somewhat. There's going to be some AI, but I definitely see it. Look, I think there's positives to it, right? I mean, like when I worked as a recruiter, when I worked at desk, I think one of the things that was that I struggled with was trying to prioritize my time and get things done. And I'll give you a great example. When I went to work at a company called Sabre Holdings, a lot of people have actually used Sabre Holdings, and you don't know it. They actually handle all the back end for ticketing for airlines. And so when you go to a kiosk and you get to an airport and you want to either change your seat or get your ticket, that's all done by Sabre Holdings, right? So when I worked at Sabre Holdings, I started there the day after the day I started. Um, I got brought in. They gave me my laptop, and I immediately was handed 120 positions to fill. Now, for a recruiter, that's a lot. Like, I mean, if you think about even just if there was 100 or 200 people that applied to every position, think about how I have to go through all of those, right? So as I told somebody, as soon as I sat in that seat, I turned into a fireman. I was just putting out fires as about
Yeah.
the best I could do just to keep everybody happy. And that's unheard of and really unnecessary, right? So if you think about that, how could definitely AI help that? Absolutely. If AI could have been a part of that to screen out the initial screen of those candidates, man, that's great. And then just give me the ones that were the 8 to 9, out of 10, the ones that are 8 to 9s, right? And maybe some 10s in there. I have to thumb through the ones, the 2s, the 3s to get to an 8 or a 9, right? So I think where AI can add value, there's a lot of spaces, right? And then again, I think the problem is that people are going to take it way too far. And I think the problem is taking it way too far to where, again, you've eliminated jobs because AI can do this. But again, is that going to be good for the candidate, experience? Like Isabel said, during COVID, we've seen reports now where people that were disconnected are having trouble, like they're having issues. And I think
Yeah.
when you lose that people touch, it's a problem. And so I think you have to find the balance. And I think that's where some companies don't care because it's all about the money. They don't really care about everything else. We care about the balance. We care about people. So we want to have a balance in there. And the balance actually could be a little skewed. It could be more of 60% of AI and some, rest, but we're not taking the people part of it out of any equation. There has to be people touch in there. I would go crazy if there was not. And I think even the times I've dealt with AI stuff in my in my personal life, that it's really frustrating because I'm like, where's a person that I can talk to? I don't want to talk to a computer generated person. So I think Mike, it's really trying to find the balance, but it's coming. Like we all have to make sure we understand it's coming, and I don't think there's anything that a lot of us can do about it. But for those of us that own companies and things like that, I think we have to think about the juggle of making sure we don't go all the way over just to the to the AI side just to be making dollars. So
Yeah, well said, buddy. You have anything to add, Isabel, or because
I wholeheartedly agree with him. Yes, AI is going to steal your job. That's the fact. But whatever a computer can do, whatever it has to be with about systems and automation and all of that good stuff, the computer is going to replace. AI is going to replace everything. That is a given, and it's been coming for a long time. I mean, even when the computers started to show up in the workforce, it did take people's job. I mean, just think about going to, I call it the Instabroke machine. That you used to have to go to the teller to get your money or exchange your paycheck, and now it's all digital. That AI is going to steal jobs. So if you create a job around people, where people actually need people, then yeah, no, AI won't be able to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
yeah,
So
true.
yeah, so it's all. This is the time to treat your employees better. Use empathy. This is the time to actually learn to communicate with each team member. Learn how to lead each team member, because there will not be replaceable by AI. So this is the time. This is the crucial time.
Well, it's interesting. There was a gentleman, a good friend of mine, that talked to me. This was years back. I was sitting at lunch with him. His name is Danny Bradley. I was sitting at lunch with him, and he said to me, he looked over at me and he said, things are changing. This was before all the AI stuff really hit, and just tech is still kind of moving along. He goes, and it was 6 of us at lunch, and he looked at me and he said, Stephen, what do you dislike right now in the world of tech and all that stuff? I said, man, I just can't handle like subscription-based stuff, because it was very low at the time, right? He goes, everything's is going to move that way soon. And I was like, no way. He goes, he's like,
right.
Deodorant, toothpaste, everything. And that's interesting. Now look where we're at now. And I'm going to say this was back in like 2008, 2007. He said this to me. So it was like, now I look back at what he said to me, and I'm looking at the change of where we are with technology and stuff. And we've embraced it, right? Like I don't order everything off of, Amazon and all that stuff. I do like going to the grocery store again for the people touch and those kind of things. But again, I think but I have embraced it. There's times where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go out to eat. So I'm going to, order my dinner from Uber Eats. Right. And it's like, you're embracing some of the technology that's there. So I think again, Mike, we have to understand that the needle's shifting. And I think if you don't jump on board, it's going to leave you behind. So it's educating yourself on technology, educating yourself. I literally sat with a guy. I had a good friend, refer a guy to me to just educate me on Bitcoin. I know nothing about Bitcoin, but I know it's coming, and I know it's here. I know there's been ebbs and flows to it. And so having to understand and really getting to learn some of those things, whether you embrace it fully or not, sometimes it's good just to understand how things work and the direction things are going, so you're not caught off guard or upset when things really, really change, right, and shift.
Absolutely. Yeah, you said kiosk earlier. it was like 2019. I went down to Atlanta for a conference, and big, it was at the Mercedes Benz Dome or whatever it is. And man, I got up there, I handed the dude cash. He says, "We don't take cash." My country butt was like, "Well, what do you take? Like, what, like wooden tokens? Like, what?" He said, "There's a kiosk," and I'm like, "What the hell is a kiosk?" Like, I was like, "This is how my dad felt, right?" When
Yeah.
you're always like, "What is going on?" And yeah, so I'm not going to say what I said after that. It's not. If you want to hear, y'all DM me or something, and join the hounds, and I'll tell y'all. But yeah, that it. If you look carefully, and I love your advice, hey, pay attention, find opportunities, right? For example, uh, writers, copywriters, right? Well, AI is replacing our job, but it's still very infantile. It still messes up. It's programmed by flawed people, and it does stupid things. And so now these copywriters are like, hey, they're calling me back to edit the AI garbage that was transmitted through. So there's still opportunities right now, right? But on that note, let me ask you all this because there's tons of questions. But so I didn't even know about this before. Augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, right? So is it replacing a lot of the training that people used to do, right? You have HR people, they used to come in and train. Is it taking over that? Or what's your take on it? Do you see a trend of virtual reality training replacing people training?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it, replacing it. There was a lady that I'm working with. She's got a L&D app that's coming out, and a lot of it's, some of it's virtual. Then she's got a section where you can pick a live trainer or, things like that. But I don't see it fully replacing, but it's going to be a huge chunk. I think, I see it there. I mean, and you see a lot of people, but I think you also have to understand the times that we're in too. Like our age is we're on the back end of things, right? But you have a lot of the younger folks coming up. My son, a lot of other people that are coming up, and those kind of things are going to resonate with him as opposed to I talk to my son about what I do and things like that, and some of the stuff he's like, eh. But it's like the technology part of thing excites him. So I think when you get more into the technology part of things, and VR is another one. I'll tell you a really interesting story. So I was working out in the Bay Area, and I can't think of the name of the company. It leaves me, but largest VR company, and I was at a conference. So I go into their booth, and they give me some VR, and he's like, put this on right now. It's gonna be like you are in solitary confinement in a prison. And I was like, this is interesting. So I put it on, and I can tell you within about 5 minutes, I was totally freaked out because it literally, every time I turned around and then they shut the lights off, like you're in solitary, it was freaky. But it's like, it gives you a sense. And I think some of that stuff is going to evolve over time as well, too. It's going to evolve. But I think, I don't see it fully going away. I'm sure that Isabel has some ideas about that as well.
I don't know about VR. It hasn't come across my path. But one thing is for sure is the people being born like right now that are let's say between 0 and 5. What they're going to do for a living hasn't been invented yet. That's
You're probably right.
Yeah. Think about just 10 years ago, content creators didn't exist. You had 3 weirdos creating content on YouTube, and now everybody has a YouTube channel. Everybody, and having people create content for other people. Yes, ghostwriters existed for books for eons, but now you've got other people, people creating content online, like Facebook posts and videos and all that good stuff for a whole bunch of people. And just 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that didn't exist. So the world it's changing, and it's changing really quickly. And it's you adapt or you die.
It's been on that
Hey,
trend.
but it's fun.
Even 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I remember you get a brand new computer, it's obsolete in 6 months at best.
Oh,
It's
it's
unbelievable.
not even 6 months anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's wild. And let me switch gears. We'll come back to this, but you all touched on it and Stephen touched on it. So generational conflicts, right? Like Gen Z workers, right? They're in the workforce. You got these millennials. I'm in that tweener spot. I'm in that new kids on the block kind of weird, 1980 don't belong anywhere, wearing beepers and stuff. So,
Mike,
but yeah,
Mike, I just need to interrupt you for a second. It's not New Kids on the Block anymore. It's NKOTB. So just so you understand, you have to you got to step it up a second, man.
really,
Oh,
really? Are you trying
man.
to say I'm not cool? Am I not hip to the game anymore? Is that what you're trying to say? All right. Well, if he's gonna talk smack, see, look at me pulling out my '90s reference, hey, my '80s. All right. Well, we're not gonna smack talk the redneck, no. So let's see. See, I had a good thought coming, and Steven messed it up. Love this guy. All right.
Sorry, man.
Gen Z, right? So everybody's got their own thing. I remember, I liked aspects of the boomers, but there's other aspects I didn't like, especially in nonprofit. They work like workhorses, which is what you want when you got a nonprofit feeding people. Uh, but the whole like time card thing when you're an executive, like what, like stuff like that. So we have this conflict. Let me ask this way: what do you think the balance, or what are possible conflicts when it comes to Gen Z and millennials in the management roles, right? Millennials are running the show. Gen Z has their way. What kind of difference of ways of doing things and conflicts have you seen?
Can I take this one?
Sure can.
It's a load of crap. That's it. It's a load of crap, Mike, and I'll tell you
Really?
what. Because people are people, and that's it. The only thing that I've noticed, and if it's not your experience, Stephen, I'd love to hear from you for sure. The only thing is, I think that the Gen Z and the millennial just won't put up with the crap. They won't put up with the boss that screams at them. They won't put up with the lack of empathy, the lack of understanding, the lack of, and you know what? That's a great thing. I mean, I never screamed at my dog. Why would I tolerate another human being screaming at me? So, other than that, people are people. That's my take on it.
Yeah, that's wild. Real quick, because every time you turn around, there seems to be somebody saying something or writing something about. Maybe they just want attention, or maybe it's in a segment I don't know about. But wow, that's I didn't expect that. Good job,
But
Steve.
I'm curious. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm curious what Stephen what's your experience been like?
I'm on the fence a bit. I think some of it, I think some of it comes. I think some of this for that Gen Z X, whatever it is, that group. I think it depends on a few things. And my son is in that group. My son is 26 years old, and he was in the military. So I think there's like Isabel, right? Like I think the work ethic is different for him. Like he's called me complaining. He worked at UPS, for a while as a manager, and he called me almost every day complaining because people didn't show up for work on time. And so I think that's what I see a lot in this, in the up and coming is some of it is work ethic. I don't think they work as hard as we do. I just don't. I just think that things that they just don't. They're looking for certain things that are just given to them, and I'm sure, based on our conversation earlier, technology has something to do with that. Because again, when you have technology's made us a bit lazy. Let's just be honest. It puts us in a sense where we don't have to work as hard as we had to do back in the day, right? So, but I do agree with Isabel that when we sat with Isabel last week and we were talking about what she does, it really gives you a different look at how people. I wish I would have had what she does in my possession even 5 years ago or 2 years ago when I'm managing a team of younger people, because just to know how people are, and I think one of you said it right. Like if I walk into a room and I go hug a guy, I'm a hugger, and he's not a hugger. How do I know that? Or how do I know that somebody wants me to talk about their day, as opposed to me just getting right to the point and saying, "Hey, where's the damn report?" But he wants me to ask him about his day and his wife and his kids first. How would I know that? And so I think that it's really about, regardless of the generation, where this goes to Isabel, it's about knowing and learning people. And when you can know and learn people, I think you're going to get answers to questions. And I think now our generation doesn't always want to know the younger generation. And I think we need to know them. We need to know what their wants, needs are, who they are. And I think that would help things out a bit. But there's all this push and pull at times, and I think a lot of it could be avoided. That's why I think Isabel. Everybody should do Isabel stuff. Everybody.
Oh, thank
You know,
you.
I'm not plugged. I'm being
Oh,
serious.
no, I know. Yeah, I know.
It can literally, and like I told you, it's the love language of that. Like that's what it is. I mean, I was so lost with my ex-wife over love language, and then somebody gave me the book, and I was like, shit, I'm an idiot. Like I just I didn't get it, because she's asking me for one thing and I'm doing another thing, right? And so once I learned all that, every time I gave her flowers, she looked at me like, "Are you an idiot?" And I'm thinking, well, she doesn't like flowers. She's throwing them in the trash, right? But as soon as she came home and she saw me cooking and vacuuming, hey, it's like, wow, that's awesome. And so this, what you're doing is the same thing.
Yes.
For people and for business, and people want to know why their businesses struggle and leadership struggles. This is a good, aside from what I believe also is being a servant leader. Yeah. This is another part of that goes with that of being a man. If you could incorporate those two things together, from the lowest to even our top offices in the country, we'd have a lot of change. Be different. And
even, sometimes it is the right time, because you talk about being a servant leader. Sometimes it's the right thing to do is to be the servant leader, but sometimes you need to be in front, and sometimes you need to be in the back, and sometimes you need to be in the middle, and sometimes you need to be on the side, just saying, all right, let's go, guys. So it's knowing when, and also who do you adapt your leadership style with and how, because you're going to have of course, I know the military has changed a lot in the past 30 years, but I mean, sometimes it is you're in the trenches and you need to get shit done, and that's it. But sometimes you need to, even if you're talking to a group, you need to adapt how you talk to every single member of the group at the same time. And it's the same thing when you teach, right? You have to appeal to the people who are visual and they need to see you do it. You need to use emotions or something they can feel for the people that actually learn that way. And the same thing with the ears. So it's the same thing when you're a leader. Sometimes there's some people that you need to, pat in the back and say, all right, let's go. You're a good boy. Let's go. And some others is just, walking in their office and say, this is what needs to get done. This is when I need it. If you need anything, you know where my office is. Thank you.
Well, it's just like it's like raising kids, right?
Yes.
You have 3 kids. I was the kid where my parents had to spank me 18 times to get things done. My sister was one. My parents would walk in and be like, "I'm disappointed in you," and she's breaking down and crying and everything. And I'm like, disappointed? Ugh. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do that again, right? And so knowing that it's the same thing, and I think when you understand leadership levels like that, of understanding that you have to approach everybody different. You might talk to them as a group, but individually you still got to know. And so I love what you were doing with the colors, because as myself and my partner said, man, how awesome that, that'd be, even on a video, if a guy raises his hand and he's got a color and I know what that means, I'm not asking him certain things then, and I'm saving him and myself probably a world of frustration, because I'm able to attack it the right way. I mean, and again, having led global teams for years, man, it would be a game changer for me. And that's why I said, I really, want people to understand what it is that you do on that level. Because again, as a leader, I can tell you, it's priceless to me, right? It's like, man, if you can't get this in the budget, you're an idiot. Like, you definitely got to get in the budget.
And now my price just increased. No, I'm just. No.
Hey, first, well, I want to hear what Isabel said, but before then, I have my own style of conflict resolution. I think we ought to go back to the Viking days, and if you really have that big of a beef, we ought to just put a circle, a couple of axes down, and see what happens. Whoever wins gets the raise. There you go.
You were born in the wrong era, dude. Seriously.
You ain't kidding. Me and Ragnar would have got along really well, because you would let a lot of stuff go if you thought an axe was coming at you. Right? So there's your conflict resolution. All right. So now bring some intelligence back in the conversation.
Damn. Me? No. Well, was there a question, or you just want me to talk about stuff?
But you were about to say something, and I
No,
come in with the
no,
axe
no, no.
thing, and
No, I don't. It was a joke. I don't even remember what I was what I wanted to say.
it was a good joke. It was so funny, I forgot to laugh. So I don't
It's a
like you on this end. I
it's
like
a
you over here helping
I
me
know,
out.
I know. It's a time joke,
It,
honey. You laugh when you have time.
that's funny. I got that one. There you go.
See, there you go.
Yeah, man. Hey, there's hope for me. So let's see, because I love HR. I'm fascinated by it, but I have no authority. I'm sitting there going, "Hey, how's Mike King do this? He just shows up and just starts asking great questions." But let me ask this: in the scope of things, right? Careers in HR, are they declining or are they on the rise? Is HR, was it more attractive back then, 20 years ago? Is it more attractive today, or is it about the same
Well, that's a very
across the
good
board?
question, Mike.
Yeah, nobody gave that to me. I pulled that out of my tailpipe. There you go. Gold star. Hey, even a blind
That's
squirrel
an,
will catch a nut every now and then.
look, that's an interesting question, right? I mean, I think HR has evolved, and there's different aspects that we look at differently than we do. But some things are still, which is frustrating for me. Some things are still the same, right? Let's tackle a couple of things. Ageism. It's been there, still there, probably will be there, which is unfortunate, right? Like, why should that ever come into play? Women equality, women pay, still an issue. Like, we're
Yes.
still dealing with things in HR that we were dealing with years, decades ago, which is, I literally was on a call a few years back with somebody and I was fighting for this lady in my office to get higher pay. Why? I don't know. And I literally told the person on the phone, I said, why am I sitting here having an argument about paying her more when her counterparts are all men and she's not getting the same pay? I don't understand why I'm having this conversation. And so I think things have evolved. I think some things haven't evolved, Mike. Is HR better than it was? It's hard for me to say. But at the end of the day, I think there's still a lot of things that we got to fix. And
Yeah.
and until we do, and until companies start taking the right path down the road to fix these things, they're going to continue to be problems. And again, I'll tell you another one that is frustrating. When you had companies years back change their DE&I structure and change things because of what happened to the gentleman that had the knee on the neck, right? Like, everybody knew that. I mean, it was globally, an issue. And companies then changed, but were they changing for the right reasons? And I've always said this: companies have to change for the right, for doing the right things. Because if you try to switch it's going to obviously show, your inconsistencies and your real true choice of doing things. Or are you just going with the trend for a minute and then you're wanting to change it? And we've had people come in and and ask us this at our company. Can you come and talk to us about DE&I or this or that? And I'm like, well, if it wasn't there from the start, we're going to have some trouble. Because at the end of the day, that's the things that you got to look at as value adds from the very beginning. Look at everybody the same, and really when I was looking for jobs, one of the things I would, that I would look at is look in HR and then look at who's in leadership. Well, if I didn't see anyone of color in leadership, what is that going to do for me coming in there? Am I going to have an opportunity to even get into leadership if everybody is a 50-year-old white male? Where's the women? Like those are questions, and really we all should be asking those questions to come, holding companies accountable. It goes a little bit beyond the HR. I know I kind of moved out, but at the end of the day, we have to hold companies' feet to the fire when it comes to those things. If not, we won't see any change. We'll still be talking about why are the 4 men getting paid this and the woman's getting paid that. We'll still be talking about that in 10 years from now. So I think we have to understand and really want to make those changes. And listen, one of the best lines I've ever heard, and I use all the time, is positive disruption. You got to go in positively to make sure to make a disruption. And if it's positive, who gives a damn what everybody else thinks? Right. Like you got to stand up for that. And that's where, for me, I've always loved what I do, because you don't understand. I've fought for people behind the scenes like you wouldn't even understand. Mm-hmm. But I always felt like I shouldn't have had to do that. Leadership should understand that. And when that lady came to me in confidence about, hey, do you know what the men are making? And in confidence, I would probably got fired, but in confidence, I told her, Told her exactly. I said, this is what they need to be giving you. She went to that meeting and asked for it. But again, why she shouldn't have had to come to me. She
Should
should
have
have
already
felt
been. Yeah.
comfortable enough to do that, right?
Yeah. I know Isabel's about to blow a gasket because I talk to her every day. But I'm about to blow a gasket. Look, I love what you said. Look, you're fighting for people. You're doing the right thing because that's your value system, right? And that's what people with values want to work for companies that share them damn values. That's the same thing with community. I had never set out to be the Hounds DEI program. Never set out to get women. And you know what? We got the most diverse community I've ever seen in my life,
For real.
and we
Yes.
didn't even think about it. We just looked at heart. And every year, I know it sounds cheesy, but I'll never forget it. The content of character. Martin Luther King's speech. That's all I care about. I care nothing about the external. Seriously. I mean, everybody knows that. Don't care nothing about it. I care about who you are and where you're at. Are you aligned? Do you have a good heart? Not perfect, but I cannot believe that we are still in this place where we're going to withhold pay because of gender. That has got to be the most insane thing. And also, the positive behind that is that's why a whole bunch of women are not waiting around for someone else to make it happen. They're going to start a business and they're going to make that shit
Right.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why the Hounds is probably what 88% women now because they're not going to wait a lifetime for this shit to happen. So thank you for that because that's
Mike, and they shouldn't have to.
no.
Like that's crazy to think that we're still backseating women and idiot men that are in leadership roles are doing that, and it really frustrates me. When I see that, and it's like, yeah, they can do that kind of stuff too. I mean, some of the best bosses I've ever had were female,
Yes.
hands down.
It's so funny because this is great. This is great to be just the only woman here and just you guys saying what I would have said all along. It's not a downfall. It's I would invite women to be cautious when it comes to equal pay. And the reason is sometimes, not all the time, and I'm not saying that pay equity is, all over the place, especially not in many, many parts of the world. But sometimes it's because the women don't dare to ask. And I'll share a story. I remember doing a job interview and the 50 some odd year old white man said, okay, so how much are you making now? And I looked at him and I said, oh yeah, you're not getting that. That's none of your business. How much I'm making now is none of your concern. The question you should be asking is, how much is it going to cost you to hire me? And I wasn't impolite. I wasn't, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't make a fuss. I just said, how much I make? Nope. Wrong question, dude. Well, that day I gave myself a $15,000 pay increase because that's the time to jump up, right? If I would have told him, hey, listen, I make 35 now, he would have offered me 37. And for his company, even if he was an HR person, for the company he's representing, he would have been right to offer me just a few $1,000s more than what I was making. So his job is to protect the asset of the company. My job is to cover my asset.
Of course.
So, and often, I don't know, I've been on, doing my own thing and running my businesses for a long time. So I don't know what it's like in the business world right now. But 15, 20 years ago, women just didn't dare to ask what they were worth. If you don't ask, dude, you don't get. So that's the only word of caution I would.
And I'm not going to disagree with that, Isabel. I think you're right. I mean, it's what my parents taught me. I mean, if you don't ask, you don't know, right? But I think part of the problem with that is you women have been shut down for so long.
True.
Then they're a little gun shy when it comes to, men will walk in and be like, yeah, I think I deserve X, Y, Z, and it's like, oh, okay, well, and women are a bit more timid. I've interviewed enough of them. A bit more timid. And, it's interesting, where I took the change and the difference when I ran my desk was I would ask somebody, I knew if the job was, because pay transparency's getting better, but it's not there, right? So people be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm making X, Y, Z, or I'd be okay with this. And I'm like, no. What do you mean no? No, that's you're selling yourself short.
Yeah.
You've got this many years experience, you're worth X.
Yeah.
So we need to bump that up. So I'm not putting what you're asking in front of the hiring manager. I'm putting something else in there. And so I think that's where people also have to understand, like with what you said too, is like ask. Put yourself out there and ask. If as uncomfortable as it may be, put yourself out there and ask. But definitely get what you're worth for sure.
Yeah.
It's
not easy.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry, Han.
Yeah, so it's interesting because you're dead right. Look, especially publicly traded company, their job, if they're even a hospital, if they can only pay a surgeon $250,000, they don't want to pay them $1 over that. That's the job. They pay for the profession. They're here for shareholder wealth, right? They're trying to increase stock price stuff. So let's not forget that. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that's the key. But Stephen, you hit something really insightful. If women as a whole, right, statistically, if they're not asking and demanding and feeling comfortable enough to get the pay increase, that can, when they start their own business, that can also hinder that, right? Like it doesn't necessarily mean the company's after you. If you don't have the confidence and skill, I could charge 5, she charges 3. Like that's a great point. So it really comes down to having overall confidence, because there's some men that aren't confident. I used to not be confident asking for pay raises. So I think it goes back to, self-development, understanding, researching, really diving in. How do I have these conversations? How do I get what I'm worth, right? And not be afraid. Or when the economy's bad, then really you're scared to do it, right? Because you're like, oh hell, now I won't get a job, right? Like we're not in a great economy now.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I would talk to y'all forever and ever. Let me ask the last question here. All right. What is the biggest struggle HR people face, right? On the daily basis, when it comes to finding the right employee? What's the biggest challenge, and what's your tips to help manage that or mitigate that?
Well, I think the first thing people are doing wrong, which we still see it to this day, is I think people are interviewing wrong. You go to most companies now, they think having 9 people interview somebody is going to get that done. When if you take the kind of like what Isabel's, we're back there again. But when you do behavioral interviewing the correct way, you're typically not going to have as many issues and errors when you're hiring people. And you don't need 9 people to behavior interview. You ask the right pointed questions, you're going to get the right point. Mike, tell me about a time when you managed an employee and you did X, or you're going to then and give them a minute or two. They're going to rethink that story, and they're going to tell you that story, and you're going to get a lot of answers in there from that, as opposed to, Mike, tell me your greatest weakness. Tell me your greatest strength. Like, what does that have to do with? And then you start to ask yourself, if you're the person that's it, well, if I tell the wrong thing for my greatest strength, is that going to hinder me? Or my biggest weakness, is that going to hit? What does that have to do with the job? Like, I could care less about what that is. And those are still things now. Like, I go out and I look all the time, and you can still see people asking those questions. And it's like, and then companies wonder why. Well, we've had XYZ turnover in this position for this, this long. Well, you haven't changed anything about your interview tactics for the last 20 years. You haven't asked the right questions, and that's why this is a revolving door out of this role. So I think if companies can move, and this is where we come in as a company too, to come in and kind of educate people on those kind of things, right? And really show them, you'd be surprised what people think they can ask and not ask in an interview. And it's like, dude, that's like, you're walking a fine line there. So really moving to those behavioral side of things to understand who that person is, then you can make the right informed choices and decisions when it comes to hiring. And again, Mike, this has not changed in 20 some plus years that I've been in this business, which tells you the problem.
Real quick, I remember reading an interview book, and I want to know from both of y'all if this is still happening, because I just laughed and was rolled my eyes. Like, there was this world-renowned biologist, right? And so they said, hey, they interviewed this guy, a panel, and they said, go up there and draw a cell, a simple animal cell, right? So he drew the animals. It was insulting. It's like asking a calculus professor to do 2 + 2, right? But he did it. He went up there and he drew it. And they said, "Is that it?" And he's like, "Yeah." You know, and most people, and then I found out what that was. It was a stress test to see how that person handled under pressure. You know, if they were confident in their skills and all that. And I'm thinking, dude, if that happened to me, go ahead and call 911 because our heads are gonna roll, dude. That so goofy stuff like that. What was the other
Well,
thing I
well,
heard?
well, Mike,
They still
listen.
do that?
But yes, and so one of the best things one of the things I saw was I worked at this company and they were doing this for engineers. Come up and write a code on the board. We're timing you, and they're freaked out. They're writing this code, blah blah blah. And so afterwards, I'm sitting there with the hiring manager and the interview team, and I said, I need to ask you all a question. I get hired in your team today. Yeah. And I have to write code. Are you timing me? Well, no. Then why are you doing that then? You're creating a false environment here. You're not getting the best out of him or her if you're asking them, you got 30 seconds to write some code. Well, when you give everybody else that comes here, as long as they need to write code. So
Right.
what, and you can see the light bulbs going off, right? And it's like, don't create a false environment, because then you want to wonder, well, this person did it fast, but was it right? Was it correct? Or could you got something different out of them if you would have just said, hey, can you go up on the board and write some code for this? God, it'll take as much time as you need, right? And this is where the misconception is about pounding somebody in an interview. I hate when people have the idea of I'm gonna get it out of them. Well, what are you trying to get out of them? Stress? Most jobs are not. It's not like we're working at an airport and we're bringing in planes. That's a stressful job. We're not doing that. We're doing other things here. And so I don't understand the mentality, but because of that, that's why people are still running through this. I can't hire the right person for the job, or you have a lot of turnover because it's not what you thought it was or what they thought it was. Well, because you interviewed them and gave them a false environment.
Well, I'm not even gonna go because we'll be till midnight. I want Isabel's take on it, but I want to go to phantom jobs. Holy cow. Go ahead, Isabel.
I was just going to say, I totally agree. And I think that most of the time, the interviewer is more about their ego, and for them to make the goddamn right decision. And they show up 9 to do the interview because they want to be intimidating and it's all about ego.
Yeah.
And the truth is, unless you equip yourself with great tools, and it's not a shameless plug, it is just that, unless you equip yourself with people who have better experience that will actually ask the right questions for you, then the other tip is just learn to fire fast. Well, because the truth is, you're going to make mistakes hiring people.
Always.
And if you learn to fire fast, of course, firing is not fun. It's not, what I like to do when I wake up on a Monday morning, but but people don't like to fire other people, and I understand why. So they hold on and they create bad team synergy, and they, ship them to another department and make it somebody else's problem, not understanding that it's the same ecosystem. So ask the right questions. Deal with professionals that are used to and that will not going to ask, what's your the biggest thing that you need to work on? And everybody answers, I'm too perfectionist. What a load of crap. Well, seriously, I can't believe people are still asking.
Yeah, they're still asking. I mean, when I did my interviews, the both of you guys, I literally would come in and I could see the person was a little bit uptight, and I would like, hey, take a step back. We're going to have a conversation.
Exactly.
This is kind of, I tell them, I'm like, it's kind of like a fireside chat, right? Like that's what this is. And I would always get during that, it's like, you interview way different, right? Because I want to get to know who you are. Like, and I want you to know me, and I'm going to tell you the ins and outs of what's going on, but I want to get to know you so I can see if you would be a good fit here. And because, as I tell everybody, you're interviewing us as much as we are interviewing you.
They're supposed to.
It's one-sided,
They're supposed to, but few do.
Right.
Actually show up in an interview. I know my last job interview was, 19 years ago, but I showed up with a list of questions.
Oh, I always
And
have
not only how many paid vacation do I get and
No.
what's the 401k contribution. No. What's the company culture? How do you handle this? What is your pay equity policy?
Isabel, when I'm coaching, when I'm doing a coaching for somebody, I always tell them that. Right, go in with 8, 10 questions, but make them about, like, go look up the company and find out when their last big deal was, if they had a big layoff. Ask around those questions and see if the person that's interviewing you is going to be able to, first of all, answer those. But you're going to also tell them you've done your due diligence to come in and really, really understand all the aspects about this company. And when I did that the first time, the interviewers are sitting there with their mouth open, like, wow.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going in unprepared. I hit them with some doozies. But that's what everybody should do.
Yes.
That they understand, like, hey, I want to make sure when I leave here and go back and talk to my wife, this is the right position for me. If it's not, then I'm on to something else, right? And you have to, both sides have to be okay with that. And usually they're not.
True. Yeah, very true.
Man, great combo. I hate to end it,
Thank you,
but
Mike.
listen, phantom jobs. Boy, I don't look. We have to do a side segment on
Yeah,
that.
we
We have
will.
to, I don't know.
We're gonna
It's
have to
that
plan another show.
it scarred me for life. But again, the whole point of it is drop the games, get to know people. Like when I talk to people for business or partnerships or hounds, it doesn't matter. I want to know who they are because here's the truth. This is just the redneck side. This is just my opinion. Most people are skilled, right? It's the skill. I mean, they wouldn't be at this process. Hopefully, you need to call Stephen and Isabel. But if they're there, they probably have the skill set. Now it's a matter of fit. It's a matter of personalities and all these other things that you guys help with. And I think that's it. Having a conversation. Is this person going to fit well in here? Are they a team player? Do they vibe this way? Right? Or, should we put them over here? Like that's the kind of stuff. Oh man, I don't even want to go into it, but and you all heard me complain about this. Stop treating upper level and executives in any industry with the fry cook applications and stuff. I went to a company or it was a nonprofit, big, and they made me do this assessment. I just quit. I didn't even do it. I told them, I said, you can't give a top level. I just parted the Red Sea with a popsicle stick, and you're making me take a Denny's application. No,
It's not
hell
a
no.
it's not a necessary. Oh, Mike, your camera went off. Oh, we lost my. Oh, it's not an assessment. It's a personality test. What I do is assessment. That's why it costs $500 because this is going to take me 3 hours to analyze and to figure out because it's not something that the algorithm is going to give me in 10 seconds. There has to be somebody looking at the data and saying, okay, so this is how you connect all of this together and this is how it shows up. And then there's an interview with the person so that you can see and validate what you found.
Right.
So but people spend $30 and they get a personality test and then they hire based on that. Well, good luck because you're going to have to fire this person.
Yeah.
I'm dying here. That happened. I connected somebody.
I know.
And I told that happened last year. I said, don't take a personality test. It's not going to help you. But I didn't know you and your test then, the Nova test.
I know.
So, but you're not making it up because I saw it. I said, this is a disaster. Yes. If they had an actual assessment that could actually help you make decisions, imagine that, right? So absolutely. Where can people find your assessment? Where can they find you and learn more about you?
They can find me here on LinkedIn, wherever you are. I'm usually not too far away. They can find me
wherever I'm at.
Yeah, exactly. They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me in the house, and they can send me an email at izzy@izzyfortin.com. So IZZY@IZZYFORTIN.com. And I'm sorry, Sindel, it was my job to put it in the banner and I didn't.
Thank you so much. It's okay.
Thank
we got
you.
it up there. It takes a village, especially when you're hanging with me. Thank you so much. All right, Stephen. Hey, I don't know who wouldn't like your style. You bring a wealth of knowledge, but people skills, man. You love people. You put people, the company. You're a win-win type of guy. It's win for the employees. It's win for the company. Well, and win for the clients, right? The customers. So where can people find you? Where, tell us where to find you.
So on LinkedIn, for sure, you can find me at stephen.laverne@merakips.co. That's my email address, or you can just look up our website, merakips.co. You can find about our company, send us information there. But yeah, I'm around, love to talk to people. I know Mike says I don't talk a whole lot. I usually in group settings, when I'm not doing something like this, I do a lot of listening. I try to listen and really get to understand people and things like that. But I'm happy to, as I've said before on any of the podcast, so happy to talk with anyone in the Hounds, anyone else. Schedule meetings, shoot me, an invite. Isabel and I have had some amazing conversations.
Yes, we have.
Mark and I as well too. So yeah, please, do that. I'm open, here to help as I can, and would love to connect with more people as well.
Hey, thank you all so much. And don't forget,
Thank you, Mike.
No, thank you. Connecting in the Hounds, man. It makes me look good. I connect you two together. Y'all go kick butt. And then hopefully, I know you're going to refer me when you can. This is the reciprocity principle of the pack. Scan the QR code, get to know us, get to, be around people who support you and boost you. Look, there is no sales pitch directly in the Hounds, right? Most of the time we don't even do sales calls. We're out there sharing our crayons. Seriously, we're sharing our crayons. We're pushing each other up. We're helping people help other people. And then they call us and say, hey, I like your style. Thank you for helping me. Well, hell, I wasn't even trying to help you. I just helped the other person. And, that's what we do here, guys. So it's profitable. It's not a theory. Join us next week, Mother's Day. All right. Mother's Day special. Unbelievable. Oh, man, I cannot wait for this. This is going to be great.
It's going to be a great show.
Like when I saw this pop up, I was amazed, but I will just do a quick plug on another end. We should love and respect our mothers. I hope we all do. Yeah. My mother's one of my heroes, a single mother for a while before she married my stepdad, but this is going to be awesome. And I don't think we give mothers enough credit throughout the year that we probably should. So excited to see this one.
No. Amen. No, thank you for that. And, mine passed away about 4 years ago. So, I miss her every day. She drove me nuts when she was here, but just like my kids, right? Like I love them when they leave, but then when they're gone, I want them back. Right? It's the same thing. So yes, honor your mothers. We're gonna do that. There's special mothers in the Hounds doing things. Can't wait, but we have a surprise. All right, we're gonna be a little bit innovative, a little fun. So bring folks, invite people, send invites to the show, invite people in the DMs. All right, carrier pigeon, phone, whatever. Bring people here so we can network and celebrate all kinds of other people and mothers and all that. So we're going to have a good time. We're going to see some people we ain't saw in a while. It's going to be great, guys. So I appreciate you. Love all the people in the audience and the pack, friends of the Hounds. If you want to know more, hey, reach out to us. We don't bite. All right. We're toothless hounds. We're good hounds. All right. So we don't chew on the carpet. But hey, have fun. Love you guys. Go ahead and roll that outro. Thank you, Sindal, for doing all this. Have a great day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.